And then we have dispatches from the land of cinema that we really have to get into this trailer about everyone's favorite Kryptonian, because I've got some thoughts. I think people are reading a little bit too far into certain things. We'll talk about that. And then we have a sequel that you probably haven't seen the original for, because it's a short that I'm pretty sure only got released on YouTube, but now has some crazy big names attached to the sequel to the, there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to get into that. And because apparently most of our news this week is trailers, we're also teasing a very special certain person with no name. Well, he has a name, but really he's nobody. That might be too much. Either way, we're talking about some trailers. So let's go. There's a little bit of movie news in here, but mostly trailers. So let's do the thing. Welcome, nerds, to the Clips channel. You are about to watch the movie news for the week, at least since the last time you were here, probably. So, movie news, this is a smaller portion of a larger video. If you want to get all of the nerdy news, all of the pop culture stuff that's going on, go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy. The name of the show you're looking for is called The Week in Nerddom, and that's where you can get everything. Or you can just stay here and specifically watch movie news. We're going to talk about upcoming movies. We're going to talk about things that are happening in the box office right now, see how they're doing, that kind of stuff, and yeah, the kind of everything pertaining to movies. So let's jump into that.
Subscribe. That is all.
No follow-ups or corrections here in movies this week. We do, though, have some trailers to talk about, and the first one isn't really a trailer. It's a sizzle reel is how they have it billed. Originally it leaked onto Twix, if you will. Originally it leaked there, and then people picked it up and put it up on YouTube, and so if you follow the link in the description, it'll take you to one of the YouTube links. It's for a movie called Kung Fury 2 specifically. If you don't know what the original Kung Fury is, let me give you the TLDR real quick. The original Kung Fury was a Kickstarter, a short film that was just a crazy homage to the bizarre movie making of the 80s. Where is the director guy? Director David Sandberg is also the star, and it is just over the top. He's a cop who's also a kung fu master and a rock star all at the same time, and he lives in a world where there's anthropomorphic dinosaurs, and so that's kind of the setup for the first movie. And then you take those elements and put them together, and then you add on top of that Michael Fassbender as, I believe, the villain, as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger as the President of the United States. And just the absurdity kicks up to, it goes well beyond 11, and we're up to 12 territory here. This looks bonkers. There is a whole lot of reasons why, because the movie is filmed. The movie exists. It is a whole thing that is done, edited, and sitting on a shelf somewhere. They finished filming this, and they finished producing this rather, in 2019. Then there was issues with the money backers, and then there's been a lawsuit, and then COVID, and all of these things have just made a perfect storm of garbage for director David Sandberg and the production staff that have been in charge of making this movie happen ever since it was finished in 2019. That this leak seems to be something that they're hoping will go the same way that the original Deadpool leak goes, in that once people see this little bit of, because it's 10 minutes worth of sizzle reel, once you see this and you go, oh my god, this is something I need in my life, that'll create enough buzz, and then the backers who own the rights to it, who aren't letting them release it for whatever reasons, will say, all right, maybe we will make our money back, and blah 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 blah, and things and stuff, and then we get this thing in our hands and we can watch the whole damn movie. So go watch the trailer. Try and find the post on Twix. I can't remember exactly where that is, though it shouldn't be too hard to find. Just search Kung Fury 2, because this is bonkers. Also has something to do with China, and now there's other things involved with China. So yeah, it's a mess. and hopefully it gets worked out one day so we can see this whole film. Anyway, continuing on, let's talk about that Superman trailer. Wow. Okay, so I didn't have the same issues with the first trailer that the rest of the world did. The second trailer, where they took out the blood, that was a little weird, but like the stoicism of the first trailer, I felt like was a little appropriate. Also, it was pretty short, so you can't really glean a whole lot of stuff about these characters in that first trailer, just because it was like just over a minute long. This new trailer that we got, the movie launches on July 11th, just so you know, so we're getting very close. But this new trailer that we got, I think that they're moving in the right direction. I think we're going to get some stoicism out of this Superman. I think we're also going to get a sense of humor out of this Superman, which is in line with what I read in the comic books. He's kind of more stoic and intelligent than he is funny and kind of freewheeling, but either way, those are two elements of his character. So like, if James Gunn can get the proportions of those two elements right, I think we have a pretty good Superman on our hands. The issues that I have with this trailer, well, one, people thinking that the guy, the black noir looking dude with the U on his chest is Ultraman. Oh, no, that's not Ultraman. I don't even know 100% that I don't think that's a U on his chest. I think that might serve some sort of actual function, and maybe he's some sort of different robot. Maybe Lex Luthor has him powered with kryptonite, and that's how he's doing these things to Superman. I mean, that would be an element of Ultraman, sure, because he is powered by kryptonite instead of stopped by kryptonite, but I think that will be the only parallel you can draw between the actual Ultraman character and whatever that thing is. So I think there is a very specific reason to why it is shrouded, as you don't see an actual face for the man in black, the black noir looking dude, because I think at some point there's going to be horrendous things done to him, and if it's a masked humanoid thing, like if they sell it like it's a robot of some sort, then they can do really, really bad things and the censors will still allow it with a PG-13 rating. So I think that is why we have the mystery there, because if you see his face, it humanizes him and then it becomes much more violent in the eyes of the censors, and so it bumps it up to an R. So I think that is why he looks like Black Noir. So that's one issue, but that's more of an issue with the people interpreting the trailer. The big issue I have with this one is Lex. Again, this is just a trailer, so there is definitely room that I am interpreting this incorrectly, but the little bit that we get of Lex in this trailer seems to show Lex as much more mustache twirling supervillain than Lex is in modern comics, or has been for some freaking time at this point. The beauty of the villainy of Lex Luthor is that his view on Superman is Earth should not need an alien to protect it. Earth should be able to protect itself from these invading forces, from these outside forces. So Lex wants to protect Earth, albeit in a twisted version of what he thinks is fair and just, but still in a fair and just way, by its own means, not with the help of an alien intruder as he sees it. So that creates the dichotomy of they kind of have the same end goal. It's just Lex sees Superman as getting in the way or as a potential threat, which is not entirely off base, considering, red kryptonite is a thing. And anyway, so we don't get that kind of nuance, at least in this trailer, with the character of Lex. This Lex just looks like Superman's a bad guy and I'm gonna be a bigger bad guy to get rid of him. Like it seems super, super basic as far as the motivations for Lex go. We only get seconds of stuff from this. So again, I reserve the right to be wrong, but that's kind of what I'm seeing with this so far. So go watch the trailer. Let me know what you think. Do you see the same thing I'm seeing? I actually kind of dig the design for these villains too. Like, I think reading the comics and then seeing these villains come to life on screen, I think James Gunn's interpretation is far better than we could have gotten with literally anyone else. So yeah, I'm still here for all of the design and stuff. I just think that hopefully they get the tone of Lex better. Also, I think there's been an interpretation of I think this element of the trailer is fantastic, but there's been some weird interpretations of the interview between Lois and Superman, Clark as Superman, if you will, that people are still, you can't read too much into context here, because it's only a just over 2 minute trailer now, so we got an extra minute, sure. But like, the interview goes, so all right, let's kind of distill this down a little bit. I do kind of understand the argument of, this is the kind of personal politics, social politics that we go to the movies to get away from. Like, I can understand the argument of, I don't want to see cancel culture in my movies. Okay, that makes sense. But being as this is the current state of things, and art is a reflection of the times, like, it still makes sense. It still stands to reason that they would be putting this in here. This doesn't feel out of place. Just because it's not as escapist as you want it to be, doesn't mean that it's not accurate to the way the character would interact in these situations. So, and also the exasperation on Superman's face, like, Lois is grilling him, which I think is really freaking cool that they took that element of it. But Lois is grilling him, so like, frustration is going to happen. So people taking issue with the fact that he like puffs up his cheeks and sighs and does all these things, like, that's not my Superman. No, that is. He gets frustrated from time to time. I think more often than not he gets frustrated with Bruce, but that's a whole different thing. We're not going to see Bruce for some time, I think. But I still think this is well within the boundaries of the Superman we get in the the good version of Superman that we get in the comics anyway. So anyway, we've spent too much time on this. Let's move along. Our other trailer this week has to do with Nobody 2. We got a full proper trailer, not just a teaser. This movie comes out August 15th. This feels like National Lampoon's Secret Service Vacation. Like, this looks like it is going to be, I mean, it has a lot to do with the fact they're playing Holiday Road over the trailer, because obviously that's a song that you associate with National Lampoon's vacation movies. But like, it's Bill Odenkirk, and we already know that there's going to be an element of comedy involved if he's there. We also know what we're getting because we saw the first movie. It just feels like they're ramping it up in all the right ways. It's not retelling the same movie, it feels like. It's continuing the story from the last movie. And that's at least how the trailer feels. And hopefully they don't give us all of the good action in the trailer. I'm hoping that once the movie releases, there's going to be a lot more action here. But as it stands right now, that's what we got. So let's continue. All right, nerds, real quick, let's take a break. Let's talk energy, and not just any energy, Dubby Energy, channel partner, and it's my go-to for any time I don't want to get that sketchy sugar crash. So here's the deal. They have spent a lot of time fine-tuning their formula, packing it full of vitamins and nootropics and things that are meant to help with cognitive performance. And the star player in all of that is a thing they like to call the neurofactor. And neurofactor is a patented cocktail of ingredients, specifically using the caffeine derived from coffee cherries, and is clinically proven to help improve brain performance. I swear this stuff helps you stay laser focused, whether you're gaming or creating or grinding away on a project or just at the daily grind at your day job. Another thing that really sets W apart is the other ingredients. Besides just the neurofactor, you have the sugar-free, 0 calories, no maltodextrin, and no artificial colors. All of that with 0 jitters and no crash, just smooth energy. And then just the icing on the cake is that Dubby is affordable as well. One 8-ounce serving, assuming you're using the promo code Generally Nerdy when you check out at dubby.gg, one 8-ounce serving is going to cost you right about $1.20, which means a full 16-ounce serving, which most of you are probably going to mix together, which is easily mixed in their shaker bottles, which are also available at dubby.gg. A 16-ounce portion is going to cost you right about $2.40. Now compare that to $4 from the other guys, and you see that you're saving money on top of helping with your focus and your brain function. If you want to give it a try, just use the promo code GenerallyNerdy at checkout. You can follow the link down in the description. We are back down to 10%. All through September, we were getting 20%, but now that it is October, we're down to 10% off, which is still, you're still doing $1.20 per serving. So 10% off at checkout if you use code GenerallyNerdy at w.gg. All of that being said, let's get back to the show, shall we? Let's move into now some regular ass news. These are honestly just two new announcements for movies. First up is one that kind of surprises me has taken this long to be announced, or to be a thing anyway, and that's CoCoMelon, the biggest children's animated IP in the world right now, is getting a proper theatrically released movie. It's coming from Moonbug Entertainment, who does the show, and again, feels like this should have happened 5-10 years ago, because CoCoMelon was, I feel like, even bigger about 5 years ago, so it would have made sense to do it then, but yeah, I think they're still gonna make a boatload of cash on this. And then we have another announcement for a Miles and Juliette movie. It is a biopic about Miles Davis and Juliette Gréco's romance. The synopsis reads, it follows 22-year-old Miles Davis on a transformative trip to Paris in 1949, where he falls into passionate romance with Juliette Gréco, French singer, actress, and left bank icon. What begins as an intimate affair blossoms into a profound connection between two young artists just before they become cultural legends. I'm freaking here for it. I love Miles Davis. I don't honestly know a lot about his personal life, so I'm very interested to kind of dig into the history of this before I go see the movie, just so I can compare the artistic license versus what actually happened. But yeah, it's gonna be great. Which then leads us to our movie suggestion for the week. Suggestion this week is one you might not be expecting again, and that is Thunderbolts. Out in theaters still. It's not going to be coming to streaming for at least another month and a half to 2 months, I would venture, maybe even longer. And I'm not trolling, this is a legit suggestion. This movie is a hell of a lot of fun. And at this point, you can go catch it at the discount theater, because I'm sure it's going to be, you can catch it on discount days. I believe AMC said they're going to start doing like half price on Wednesdays in order to get people to come out to the theaters. So you can get a cheap showing for this, so you're not spending a whole bunch of money, but still see it on a giant screen and still have the, 15 speakers surround and whatever. And yeah, this is definitely an experience worth having in the actual theaters rather. You can watch my review of it and see, like, there are definitely issues with it, but this is one of the better Marvel movies we've gotten in some time. I would venture the entire, what are we in now, phase 5? The entirety of the current phase, this is probably the best one there. Definitely not the best Marvel movie we've ever had, but shows promising signs of change for the future. So that is your suggestion this week. Go check out Thunderbolts while it's still in theaters. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.